fragrant friends, how are you guys? Thank you so much for joining me. Rise Frags 34. Maximum Husler, big shout out to you, my friend. Thank you so much for tagging me on this one. Thank you so much for waiting so long. I wanted to get some vintage bottles and it took me several months to get those. I finally do have them in my collection. But I wanted to thank you and thank you so much for tagging me on this one. This is about our fragrance journey. And the way I kind of took it is all the way from growing up till now. You know, back in the day, I always had just one bottle of fragrance. I always wanted to smell good and I was always into it, but I never was into it like this, of course. I believe 2012, I started getting into this, like 2012, 2013. But again, thank you so much. Shout out to you and loving your channel. You got so much knowledge. Collection is amazing. So really wanted to, say thank you for that. I will be tagging someone at the end of this video as well. But I really appreciate this. Back in the day when, like I said, when I was, shaving with my father, when I was 5, 6 years old, I thought that was a big deal when he shaved, because when you're a little boy like that, you want to be like your dad, and of course you want to shave. So what he would do is he'd leave the little razor cover on, and I would be shaving away, but I was thinking I was shaving, but he'd put the cream all over me, and I would be shaving, but of course the blade, cover wasn't removed, so I really wasn't shaving anything, but it was kind of neat, and he would always splash on this stuff. Now I know my grandfather wore this as well, but this is the original Old Spice, and it is the aftershave. So I actually tried to hunt this bottle down. I know the cologne probably lasts longer or whatever, and I'm sure it's a different concentration, but this is what he used, is the aftershave. And I think he also had like English leather. He had a couple of those older ones in there too, but this is the one that I remember. We always used to use this and stuff and all that. And again, when I was 6, 7 years old, I wasn't using fragrance all the time, but it was kind of neat when, before we'd go to church or something, I would splash a little bit of this on. This stuff came out to us in 1938, so it's been around so long. We've all seen the bottle. No one probably has it in their collection anymore, but it does bring back some memories for me, so it's really cool that way. Also, I've always wanted to, talk about my uncle a little bit. He was kind of a big inspiration to us when we were kids and stuff, because, he owned his own business, and he was a very successful man, and you kind of just looked up to him, and that was my mother's brother, my uncle. And he always had, I used to tell you guys about my experience with House of Matriarch with Coco Blanc, about, it always reminded me of that candy shop that we used to go to up at my uncle's. My uncle has a cabin, on like 1,000 acres. It's beautiful in Wisconsin, and we would be up there a lot. And this scent actually reminds me of when he used to get ready, and before we would go to either a flea market or we would go out for the day or whatever. But he would always throw some of this stuff on, and this is the original vintage bottle Stetson. Now again, I don't think this has ever been expensive or crazy popular, but this was like the thing he wore. I don't know. He could have probably worn anything he wanted. And he picked this stuff, and the vintage stuff is actually not bad. I mean, this is it just so much reminds me of, going into, because we had a little cabin or whatever, and going near like the bathroom area and stuff, where he was after he got ready and stuff, and he'd always dress to the nines and everything, and I would just smell, this is that smell of that area that he was in after he got ready and stuff. So just brings back a lot of memories. I know my dad, he started wearing this stuff too after my uncle started wearing it. And this is it's a great old scent, just for some memories for me. Of course, I don't reach for it, but it's just a crazy scent that he used to wear. Now this scent, obviously my father and my uncle of course had it, and this is kind of when you wanted to step up your game, and you were like wanting to spend some money on some fragrance, and it was a very nice fragrance back in the day, and I still enjoy it. Again, don't reach for it, don't wear it often, because there's a lot more, different and better, substitutes for it. But this one is Polo Green, and my story behind this one is I believe in the 4th or 5th grade, I wanted to smell good for the day, for school, and my father had the old splash bottle. He never had a spray bottle, so I think I literally just poured. I mean, there was a puddle in my hand, and I splashed it, and I was just like rubbing all over. Man, I thought I was like, I was smelling good. I was smelling just great. And I got to school, and they literally almost wanted to send me home. That's how bad I smelled up the classroom. I was made fun of. It was just crazy. I mean, I never ever wanted to wear cologne after that. That was a bad experience with this one, but again, great memory. And this is a vintage bottle too. I think it's kind of mid-school. It's not really old school, but mid-school fragrance. And I still love the scent. It's just a great scent, but still reminds me of kind of like my father and my uncle. in that way. So then getting on to like the 7th grade, my brother, obviously big inspiration, taught me so much growing up as a kid. He's about 4.5 years older than I am. So again, I was looking up to him, wanted to be like him, and and I learned a lot from him as well. And he was getting big into the fragrances, sophomore, junior year of high school, and I guess I was, 5th, 6th grade, I guess, in that area or whatever. And this is always the one that he would get, and I would reach for, and he loved this fragrance. And this one is Jazz, and this is just it's really nice. It's YSL, came out to us in 1988, and I love that year, like 88, 89. It was great times, man. It was like, the hair metal bands, and things were just, it was cool back in the day, you know what I mean? So, but he would always wear this one, and of course I would go into his bedroom, sneak in there and grab a couple spritzes, either before school or, going out to a movie or something like that. But this one, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know the story behind it. I never really even looked into it, but I wanted to get a vintage bottle, and this is vintage. And it's kind of like a jazz night or something, like a night out, I guess, like in a jazz club or whatever. And it actually, like, if you do smell it, it smells like that. And this stuff, just a powerhouse. It lasts a long time on my skin. I actually wore it the other day just to try and, bring back a little bit of memories. But this is just so my brother, it's my brother in a bottle, and it really reminds me of him. And then there's one more that also reminds me of him. But it's just when I see this bottle, it's like, wow, I think of my bro, and it's pretty cool. So, but he used to wear this a lot. And then he also wore this one. I finally got this one off of from a friend off of Facebook, and you just still can't beat this stuff. Now, of course, green Irish tweed. There's a lot of good, substitutes for it. Well, not substitutes, but a lot better out there right now. But man, this vintage Cool Water, just a little bottle here. But I mean, this stuff is awesome. I wore 3 sprays the other day, lasted all day, and I got compliments on it. It's just still a great fragrance, Cool Water, Davidoff. Awesome, came out to us, I believe, in 1988 as well. And yep, I think it's just kind of got that ocean sea breeze kind of thing going on, and just really, really nice. Now also, I had a really good friend, one of my best friends. We used to, obviously spend the night and stuff like that, and hang out, and he was kind of big into cologne at the time. And we all know this sucker, Drakkar Noir. And this is a vintage bottle again. This came out to us actually in 1982, but when I think of him, he was big into like we had long hair at the time. We were, wanting to be like rock stars and stuff. Motley Crue, he was a huge Motley Crue fan and all that. And this is exactly what I think of when I smell Drakkar. I think of Motley Crue. I think of like the leather jackets, the long hair, the metal bands and stuff like that. And I just think of my buddy. This is he always wore this. And again, I don't think I had a fragrance at that time. My brother did, and then of course my buddies did. And I would spray this on, if we'd go out or do whatever we were doing in 7th grade, but like movies or whatever we were doing. So, but Drakkar Noir, just an awesome, awesome fragrance. It's just got that older oak moss leather, just awesome fragrance. Then it was 8th grade, and yes, I got a girlfriend, and it was awesome. I was totally in love, and she was, it was it. It was great times, and you started, obviously, the whole makeout scene, that was great. It was you starting to become a man, and it was just a lot of fun. And she actually bought me this one. This is Aspen, and no idea what she thinks about this sucker today, but this stuff smells so good, guys. And again, there's much better niche fragrances out there that'll kind of have, kind of replace this, but for $15, Cody Aspen, I know it's discontinued now, but this stuff just totally reminds me of her, reminds me of 8th grade, reminds me of where I lived at that point. I really still enjoy this stuff, and it'll always bring back awesome memories for me. It was just a great time in my life. So Aspen, that was about 8th grade time, I guess 13, 14 or whatever. Then at that point too, I don't really believe I had kind of any bottles in my fragrance collection but Aspen, so I was just wearing that. And sometimes, I think like Axe was kind of coming out then, maybe like mid-90s or whatever. I'm not real sure on that, but I know like underarm deodorants and stuff were kind of popular, like the better smelling ones. So I think I just wore that. Sometimes I didn't even wear a fragrance, so, but when I went to my father's again, now this is kind of after my parents got divorced, things like that, and me and my father kind of started going out and stuff a little bit here and there, just go to some bars, shoot some pool or whatever. I was about like the 16, 17. He always wore this, and he still wears this stuff today, but this is a vintage bottle at Jovan Musk. And a lot of people actually still think this is like a sexy fragrance. It's nothing talked about pretty much anymore and all that, but but this is just a, you know, this is so my father in a bottle right now, because this is, I believe he still wears it, and you know, every time, once a year I go visit him, he still has it on, and it still smells great. And but Jovan Musk, again, this is my father's scent, just an awesome fragrance. So right in that time period, you know, like 9th, 10th grade, I guess, I was, you know, kind of splashed this on once in a while when I went to go visit him. And of course we'd both smell alike when we went out, but I thought I smelled pretty good, so, but Jovan Musk. Then at that point, this one was a huge one back in the day, kind of the mid-90s, and I think it came out, I have some of them, trying to think, I can't remember when Tommy came out. I know it had to be mid-90s, 94, 95 or something like that, I'm not sure, maybe even earlier, but the original Tommy Hilfiger, this stuff, oh my gosh, brings back so many memories. 16, 17 years old, you know, dating girls, going to movies, having so much fun with your friends. This stuff, it really, I did wear this quite a bit. This one, and then also this one, and this one came out in 1997, the original Nautica competition. And this is right about my junior year of high school. I wore the heck out of this stuff, junior year and senior year of high school. And I was kind of floating back and forth. That's when I kind of moved out to Maryland right after high school. And I would go in between this, Tommy. And then, of course, I met a girl, and she recommended something to me. And I'm sure you've probably never heard of this one. It's not really too popular, but she kind of got me into this one. She says, you got to get this stuff. It smells amazing, and I love it. And she bought me a bottle of this, and it's Acqua di Gio. And this one actually is my 2000 year bottle. So basically the year 2000, this is when I purchased the bottle, or she got it for me, and then I actually purchased it because I would run through this stuff. I would go through a bottle of this every 2 months, and I was wearing the heck out of this. I was going out with it. I was wearing it during work, everything. This was like my signature scent for almost 10, 11 years. But on Facebook, again, Michael Cure, hopefully I'm okay to shout out your name, but thank you so much. This guy is actually a year 2000 bottle. So this is like the first year that I got into it. And oh my God, this stuff is so strong and powerful. 3 sprays literally will last me all day with this stuff, the vintage stuff. And again, this is almost 17 years old now, smells awesome. It's still the #1 selling fragrance right now out there. So just a great one, guys. You can't go wrong, you know, for any beginner or anyone who's into fragrance, they know what this is all about. But that was the year 2000. I was about 20, 21 years old, going out, having some fun, a lot of great memories, you know, and it was just really cool that way. Then, of course, I wore that for several years, you know, ended up getting married, and my wife, of course, likes that scent. I still enjoy it, you know, I love it, and I don't wear it much at all anymore. I don't reach for it, but it's still a great scent. You know, there's so many other fragrances that I enjoy wearing. I don't really reach for that one, but I do enjoy it. And, you know, I wore that for several years, and I was like, you know what, I just want to change, you know, and that's when YouTube kind of started getting a little bit bigger, you know, like 08, 09. And I went on YouTube and I was like, you know what, let's just check out some fragrances. And boom, there was Mark and Cubby and Al and all these guys talking about fragrances. I'm like, damn, are you kidding me? There's people that are really into these fragrances so deeply and so much. And that's when this bad boy came out. This one came out in 2007, and it's a masterpiece. But a lot of the guys were talking about it. I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'll try it. I found out about FragranceNet. It was about $100 online at the time, and I got it. And this is a 2010 bottle of the one and only Dior Homme Intense. And this is when I started really learning about a fragrance, you know, about how it really, you know, a lot of the aqua, you know, they're kind of linear. They start out really fresh, and then they kind of die down a little bit woody. You know, it's kind of the sandalwood, kind of the scent. This stuff, you know, it starts off, it's like, oh my gosh, this is, you know, lipstick, iris, you know, leather bag kind of thing. And I'm like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, boom, it just turns into something magical with the cocoa and just the woodsiness and spiciness, and it's just amazing. So this really got me into fragrance. And of course, you know, I kind of like a business side of things, you know, and of course I went and got a couple bottles of these, and this is actually my first review, and I got a 2011 bottle, because this is when like the batches and the, you know, batch codes and stuff were really getting in, you know, popular, and like, oh my God, you got to get this one versus this one, because this has a little bit more pear, or this has a little bit more cocoa, and it's lasts longer. So that's when I really got interested in the batch codes and all that. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna snag a few of these for $100. And next thing you know, like 3-4 months later, they're selling for like $250 on eBay, $250, $300 almost, and they're still selling for crazy money. So what I did is I sold a couple of those bottles, got some other bottles. So that's kind of my little history with this one, but this is when I first really got into it. I believe it was right around 2013 or 12, 13, right in that range. And this stuff is just, today still is one of my favorite fragrances, Dior Homme Intense. Now what I did with that money is, of course, you know, everybody was talking about the big Creed with a capital C. And I was like, man, I got to get my hands on some of this stuff. So I took some money from my Dior Homme Intense and I purchased this bad boy right here. Crete Aventis. This is a 2013 bottle. Awesome juice. Of course, I have a ZO1 batch. I have a couple, you know, other ones, and you just can't really beat this fragrance. You know, I know there's a lot of clones out there, and there's a lot of guys that are doing pretty well with these clones, but there's just the one and only true Aventis. Yeah, it's pricey as hell, but you can still kind of get it from the discounters and stuff like that. But this really just kind of set it off, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and do some reviews and stuff, and I'll name myself Creed Frags 34, and that's where that kind of came in. 34 was always my football jersey number when I was playing football, when I was growing up and through high school and all that. So Walter Payton was probably my favorite player of all time. Not that I got to see him too much growing up, but he was like a legend, you know what I mean? And he always will be. He's just a class act and awesome guy. So I always liked 34, and Creed Frags was kind of like my deal, because Creed was just like, you know, every bottle that I purchased after this one, it just worked so well, so versatile, so fresh, and just awesome. So really enjoyed the Creed stuff, and I got really crazy into that. And then of course I'm exploring a lot more now, but Creed is still one of my favorite houses, and you really can't beat Crete Aventis. So, but of course, just a beautiful 2010, I think this stuff came out, and it's just still, you know, just an awesome fragrance. Then of course, I was really getting into the, you know, the fragrance scene and all that, and, you know, really intrigued by perfumers, and oh my gosh, this is really cool. Well, next thing you know, here a great perfumer, Josh Meyer, emails me. You know, we're talking back and forth, and he's like, yeah, I saw a couple of your reviews, and I was like, yeah, I would love to try, you know, some of your fragrances, blah, blah, blah. And he sent me this one. No one's ever smelled it before. He sent me a sample of it before it even got released, but this is Mosaic. And this stuff is just incredible juice, and here a perfumer is actually talking to me, you know, so I'm like, man, this is awesome, you know. So Josh Meyer, of course, he signed a bottle for me and everything, and it's just so cool, you know, talking to these perfumers, and a lot of great guys in this like I said, in this fragrance passion. So I just love it so much. But Mosaic was big. That's when I really started, you know, feeling, wow, these perfumers are pretty awesome, and it's such a cool passion at this point in my life, you know what I mean? I'm just like, wow, this is great, talking to perfumers, smelling great, getting compliments at work, you know, really learning about fragrances and notes, how they work and everything, and that's really what kind of got me into it. Last but not least, of course, a lot going on in my fragrance journey, as you can see behind me. Raja Dove, Tom Ford's. I mean, I just went nuts. You know, I was watching Mark after he said, oh yeah, I think this is a good one. Boom, blind bought it. I was blind buying everything. I didn't smell anything. You know, it's just crazy. Now I've slowed down quite a bit. I do want to get my personal opinion on something before I purchase it, because they are expensive. But all I can say is then there was Christy Michelle. That's all I gotta say. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this crazy journey of mine in the last 4 years. You know, it's been so much fun, and I really do love it. I love a lot of the new reviewers coming out. I'm hoping a lot of the old guys stay in this, and I'm gonna actually tag Rene Zayas. I know he kind of comes in and out as he does his, you know, most complimented fragrances, or like his top 10s and stuff like that. I know he's been busy, but he's actually in the game right now. Literally, he's selling this stuff, you know, as his job. So I just wanted to kind of get his you know, thoughts and everything on it. And he's always been a good guy, and you know, he's pretty humble, and he knows a lot about fragrances. So I'd love to hear his, you know, journey when he first started and what he used to wear back in the day when he was growing up. So, but Rene, tag to you, buddy. Hopefully we can hear you, and keep this tag going. Like Max said, I'm so sorry, Max, this took forever to do, but I did want to get my actual vintage, true vintage bottles, you know, because I wanted to get that smell back, and the memories and all that. So, but guys, I cannot thank you enough for always, you know, just kind of watching my videos and commenting, learning so much. I'm making a lot of new friends, and I really love you guys. So thank you again. Rise Frags 34. Please don't forget to subscribe. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.